The distant stars shone like scattered diamonds across the black canvas of space. In the quiet expanse of the human-controlled Orion sector, life seemed calm. Colonies thrived, trade routes hummed with traffic, and the fleets patrolled the outer edges, keeping humanity safe. Yet far beyond the edge of known space, shadows stirred. The Xylar Collective, an alien coalition with a history of conquest, had grown restless. They watched humanity silently for years, calculating, waiting for a moment to strike. Admiral Kale sat in the command center of the flagship Resolute, his eyes scanning the flickering holographic displays. Alerts were coming in, each one more alarming than the last. The human colonies on the fringe of Orion space were reporting unusual activity, strange signals, missing scouts, and minor skirmishes near their borders. Kale's brow furrowed. Something was coming, and it would not be small. "Admiral," said Lieutenant Vero, a young officer who had grown up on the edges of human space, "we've detected multiple unidentified ships moving in formation toward Vega Station. They're fast, and their shield signatures are unlike anything we've seen before." Kyle leaned closer to the console, studying the readouts. His fingers drummed lightly on the edge of the table. "How many?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. "Too many to count, sir. At least 20 capital-class vessels plus hundreds of smaller attack craft," Vero replied. "If they reach the station, it will be destroyed before reinforcements can arrive." Kyle's mind raced. The Xylar Collective had never been so bold. They had studied humans for decades, perhaps expecting an easy conquest, but they had underestimated something crucial: human unpredictability. Kale turned to his communications officer. "Send a priority alert to all nearby fleets. Every ship capable of war must move immediately. Prepare for full engagement." "Yes, sir," the officer said, fingers flying over the console. As the warning spread through the colonies and fleets, panic rippled among the civilian population. Merchants hurried to secure their cargo, families sought safe shelters, and governors demanded protection. Yet amid the fear, humans did what they always did. They prepared to fight. The first clash came near Vega Station. The sky above the planet lit up with flashes of energy. As the alien attack craft descended, human defense turrets fired tirelessly, creating a sparkling web of light against the dark void. Kale's fleet arrived just in time, slipping through the chaos like shadows. Small human frigates darted between alien ships, launching precise strikes and evasive maneuvers that seemed almost impossible. Despite the humans' efforts, the aliens pressed forward with ruthless efficiency. Their ships were massive and heavily armed, moving with an organized precision that human fleets could only partially match. Vega Station shook violently under bombardment, and Kale realized that conventional tactics alone would not win this fight. Humans would have to fight differently, smarter, and with courage that the aliens had never seen. "Admiral," Vero called, "we can't hold them off for long. If we retreat, we can save the station's civilians, but we risk losing a strategic point." Kale's jaw tightened. He looked out at the stars beyond the battlefield, the streaks of alien fire cutting through the void. "No," he said finally. "We are not retreating. Humans do not give up no matter the odds. We adapt, we survive, and we fight back." Across the fleet, messages echoed with new orders. Engineers worked frantically to retrofit civilian ships with weapons. Scientists modified drones to carry explosives. Pilots trained in risky maneuvers that no one had attempted before. Every human mind focused on a single goal: turn the tide or die trying. Kale moved through the fleet like a conductor guiding a symphony of war. His calm demeanor gave confidence to all who served under him. "Remember," he said to his officers over the comms, "we may be outnumbered, but the Xylar do not know what humans are capable of. They think in patterns. We do not. Use your minds, use your instincts, and make them regret ever attacking us." Meanwhile, on the bridge of the alien flagship, the Xylar High Commander observed the human response with disbelief. Their scanners, designed to predict enemy behavior, could not account for the chaos the humans created. Small groups of human fighters slipped past their defenses, sabotaging supply ships and striking at command vessels. The Xylar had expected surrender, not resistance. Back in the human fleet, Captain Lyra, a young but fiercely capable officer, led a daring sortie into the thick of the alien formation. Her ship, the Valiant, weaved through enemy fire like a fish in water. She ordered her crew to deploy plasma nets, a newly developed weapon that could entangle enemy fighters and disable their engines. One by one, alien vessels were caught, giving humans precious moments to strike. "Excellent work," Kale said, watching the feed from Valiant. "This is what I mean by teaching them. Humans fight differently. We do not rely on sheer numbers alone. We use our minds, our hearts, and our courage." The battle raged for hours. Vega Station burned, but human ingenuity prevented a complete loss. Supply lines were rerouted, civilians evacuated in daring shuttle missions, and alien advances were slowed at every turn. Yet Kale knew this was only the beginning. The Xylar Collective would regroup, learn from their mistakes, and strike again. Humanity needed a plan for the long war ahead. As night fell across the Orion sector, the human fleet gathered in orbit above a quiet, damaged planet. Kale stood on the bridge of Resolute looking at the stars. He knew that sending a message to the Xylar was risky but necessary. Humanity had to show they would not bow, not now, not ever. He keyed the communication system and sent a simple, defiant message directly to the Xylar High Command. "You chose war. Watch us teach you how it's done." The words, simple yet powerful, traveled faster than any fleet, reaching the alien command as both a warning and a promise. The humans did not celebrate victory. They knew the Xylar would respond, likely with greater force. Yet there was a spark of hope, a realization that humanity's greatest weapon was not its ships, its weapons, or even its technology. It was the human spirit. It was the courage to face impossible odds, to adapt and survive, and to fight with every ounce of creativity and resolve. In the quiet moments that followed, Kale walked among his crew, speaking to engineers, medics and pilots alike. "We are not just defending our homes," he said. "We are showing the galaxy who humans are. They will learn, and so will we. We will not be predictable. We will not be defeated, and we will fight, because that is what humans do." As the fleet prepared for repairs and resupply, the stars above seemed to shimmer with possibility. The war had begun, but humanity had already made its mark. The Xylar Collective had chosen a fight they did not fully understand, and as long as humans had breath in their bodies and fire in their hearts, they would teach the aliens a lesson the galaxy would never forget. Kyle returned to the bridge and looked at the strategic map. Red dots marked alien positions, blue dots marked human fleets. The numbers were daunting, but humans had learned long ago that numbers alone did not win battles. Strategy, courage, and ingenuity mattered more. He smiled faintly, a mixture of pride and determination. "This is only the beginning," he murmured to himself. "The beginning of showing the galaxy what humanity is capable of." And with that, the human fleet set its course, engines blazing, ready to face the storm. The stars would witness the rise of a force that refused to yield, a species that thrived in adversity, and a people who would teach the universe the meaning of courage. The Orion sector was still reeling from the first strike of the Xylar Collective. Scorched colonies, damaged stations, and disrupted supply routes reminded everyone of the alien threat. But humans are never passive in the face of danger. Every city, every fleet, and every mind found ways to fight back. Admiral Kale stood on the bridge of the Resolute, surveying the fleets that had gathered in the wake of the attack. Ships of all sizes hovered in formation, frigates, destroyers, and even converted civilian vessels now armed with experimental weapons. Engineers had worked day and night to retrofit cargo ships into agile fighters, adding laser cannons, shielding, and even automated drone systems. The fleet looked impressive, not just because of its size, but because of the creativity and ingenuity behind every ship. Kale turned to Lieutenant Vero. "How are our new modifications holding up?" he asked. "Excellent, sir," Vero replied, eyes scanning the consoles. "The cargo vessels are surprisingly nimble with the new engines. And the plasma nets we installed on the drones are performing even better than expected. We could take down entire squadrons with a single trap if we play it right." Kale nodded. "Good. Then it's time to show the Xylar that humans fight differently. They think in rigid formations. We think in ideas. Every trick, every clever move is our weapon." Meanwhile, on the outskirts of the sector, Captain Lyra piloted the Valiant through asteroid fields that hid her movements. Her crew worked in perfect harmony, deploying decoy drones to distract Xylar scouts. She grinned as one alien fighter collided with a decoy, its systems overloaded by the EMP pulse emitted from the disguised drone. "Nice shot, crew," Lyra said. "They may be bigger, but they can't outthink us." The humans' first major counterattack began near the asteroid cluster known as Orion's Teeth. It was an ideal location for ambushes, with countless hiding spots and natural hazards. Kale had chosen it carefully, knowing that the Xylar relied on predictable flight paths. "Deploy the modified freighters," Kale ordered. "They're small, but their speed and agility can catch the enemy off guard. Let's make them regret coming here unprepared." The human fleet moved like a single organism. Freighters darted in and out of asteroid cover, releasing drones carrying micro-explosives. When alien ships pursued them, the drones detonated near the alien engines, causing chaos and slowing the attackers. Human fighters followed up, striking quickly before vanishing into asteroid shadows. The Xylar were stunned. Their sensors struggled to track the humans, who seemed to appear and disappear at will. They fired relentlessly, but the humans' unpredictable movements made their attacks mostly ineffective. On the bridge of Resolute, Kale watched with satisfaction. "They thought they were the masters of war," he muttered. "They didn't realize that humans are masters of adaptation." Not all humans were on the front lines, yet everyone played a role. Engineers monitored damaged ships, repairing them faster than any Xylar algorithm could predict. Medics treated wounded crew members with skill and care, ensuring that even the smallest injuries did not slow the fight. Scientists worked tirelessly to enhance weapons, shields, and navigational systems. Every person contributed to a web of resistance that no alien could fully understand. Amid this chaos, a human strike team led by Captain Lyra executed a bold maneuver. They infiltrated an enemy outpost disguised as a mining station. Using stealth technology developed in secret labs, they bypassed alien scanners and planted charges on critical systems. When the explosives detonated, the outpost's communications and defenses were crippled, leaving the Xylar forces scattered and disorganized. Kale's voice came over the comms, steady and commanding. "Well done, Lyra, that's exactly what I mean. Use your brains, use your courage, and never give them a pattern to predict. Humans fight with heart as well as skill." The small victories boosted morale across the fleet. Even minor successes like capturing supply ships or disabling enemy drones became stories of inspiration. Humans began to understand that numbers alone did not determine the outcome of war. Cleverness, unity, and courage could achieve the impossible. In the midst of battle, the Xylar High Commander convened a council. Alien officers argued fiercely, frustrated by their inability to control the human fleet. "They are too unpredictable," one said. "We have analyzed their movements for decades, yet they defy every expectation." The commander's mandibles clicked in thought. "Humans, they are a different species. Their spirit, it is not logical, not programmable. We underestimated them, and now we pay the price." Back with the humans, Kale had another plan in motion. He knew the Xylar would regroup, but he also knew that humans could strike in multiple places at once. He divided his fleet into smaller, specialized squads, each assigned unique objectives: sabotage, ambush, reconnaissance, and direct attack. Each squad operated independently, but they shared information instantly through advanced human communication networks. "Think of it like a game of chess," Kale explained to his officers. "We are not predictable pieces. We are players who can change the rules mid-game. Every move we make is calculated but also flexible. The Xylar will never see it coming." As night fell across the sector, human ingenuity shone brightest. Drones flew ahead of fleets, creating holographic duplicates of ships to confuse alien sensors. Mines were hidden in asteroid belts, triggered remotely to catch the enemy off guard. Even the smallest human pilots performed incredible feats, slipping through narrow gaps in enemy formations to strike at vital systems. Captain Lyra's crew worked tirelessly, inspired by Kale's words and their own determination. "They think they can scare us," she said over the comms. "But humans don't scare easily. They underestimate our creativity, and that's their mistake." Her ship's sensors picked up a group of alien reinforcements approaching. They were larger, heavily armed, and meant to crush the humans once and for all. But Lyra was ready. She deployed a cloud of nano-missiles, programmed to track engine heat signatures. The missiles swarmed the alien ships, disabling engines and forcing the reinforcements into a chaotic retreat. Meanwhile, Kale coordinated the rest of the fleet with precision. Human engineers rerouted power to weapon systems, ensuring maximum efficiency. Freighters carrying improvised shields moved ahead of battle lines, absorbing enemy fire while fighters struck from unexpected angles. Humans were proving that their strength was not in size but in adaptability and courage. For the Xylar, it was a humbling experience. They had faced many species, many wars, but none like this. Humans were relentless, creative, and fearless. Every tactic they employed seemed designed not just to fight, but to teach the aliens a lesson they would not forget. By the time the Battle of Orion's Teeth ended, the humans had inflicted significant damage while suffering only minor losses. Vega Station was partially rebuilt, supplies were rerouted, and alien scouts were in full retreat. Across the Orion sector, humans celebrated their ingenuity, knowing they had shown the Xylar that humans were not to be underestimated. Kyle addressed his fleet once more. "Remember this victory," he said, his voice firm and steady. "It is not just about ships or weapons. It is about how we think, how we adapt, and how we fight as humans. The Xylar thought they were invincible. They were wrong. We are humans, and we fight in ways they cannot even imagine." As the fleet moved to regroup and repair, Kale reflected on the lessons of the battle. Human creativity, courage, and determination had turned the tide. The Xylar might return stronger, but humanity had already proven that they could face the impossible and prevail. Even in the darkest stretches of space, hope burned brightly. The stars above the Orion sector now held more than light. They held human courage, ingenuity, and the unyielding spirit of a species that refused to be defeated. The message Kale had sent to the Xylar lingered in the galaxy like a challenge. "You chose war. Watch us teach you how it's done." Every human knew that the war was far from over. But they also knew that with courage, intelligence, and unity, no enemy could truly conquer them, and so, human ingenuity was unleashed across the Orion sector, a force that the galaxy had never seen before. Ships, crews, and minds worked together seamlessly, striking at the heart of enemy plans while inspiring every human they touched. The battle had been won, but the war was only beginning. Kale stood on the bridge, watching the stars stretch infinitely before him. He knew more battles would come, each more dangerous than the last. But one thing was certain: humanity would fight, adapt, and survive. They would continue to teach the galaxy the meaning of courage, determination, and ingenuity. And the Xylar would remember this day not as the day they thought they conquered humans, but as the day they first learned just how formidable humanity truly was. The Orion sector had become a battlefield of wits, courage, and unyielding determination. For weeks, the human fleets had harassed the Xylar collective, striking at supply lines, ambushing patrols, and sabotaging outposts. Yet Admiral Kale knew that small victories alone would not end the war. To truly change the course of this conflict, humans had to strike at the heart of the enemy. Kyle gathered his officers in the war room aboard the Resolute. Holographic maps of Xylar territory floated in the air, showing fortified stations, troop movements, and supply hubs. The humans had been tracking patterns, studying weaknesses, and preparing for a bold plan. "The Xylar rely on predictable defenses," Kyle explained. "They believe their command structure is unbreakable. But every system has a vulnerability. If we can disrupt their high command, we can shake the entire collective." "And that's exactly what we're going to do." Lieutenant Vero leaned forward, eyes bright with determination. "Sir, do you mean infiltrate their command hub?" Kale nodded. "Exactly. A small specialized strike team will go behind enemy lines. Stealth technology, human ingenuity, and precise timing will be our weapons. We'll hit where they least expect it and show the Xylar that humans do not play by their rules." The team assembled in secret. Captain Lyra volunteered immediately, her reputation for daring maneuvers preceding her. Alongside her were engineers, tacticians, and elite pilots, all chosen for their skill, creativity, and courage. The plan was risky, but Kale trusted them completely. Their target was a heavily fortified command hub on Xylar Prime, the central planet of the alien coalition. Monitored by countless satellites shielded by massive energy barriers and defended by legions of fighters, it was considered impenetrable. Yet humans saw it differently. Where aliens saw walls, humans saw opportunity. Where aliens saw danger, humans saw possibilities. "Remember," Kale said as he briefed them one last time, "we are not just attacking. We are sending a message. Every move you make, every tactic you use will remind the Xylar that humans fight differently. Use your brains, use your instincts, and never be predictable." Captain Lyra nodded. "We won't disappoint, Admiral. Humanity doesn't back down. Under the cover of a meteor storm, the strike team launched. Their ships, modified for maximum stealth, glided silently past detection arrays. Every crew member knew the stakes. Failure meant capture and likely death. Success meant a turning point in the war, and a blow to Xylar morale that could not be measured in numbers alone. Inside the fleet, human forces prepared for distraction attacks. Freighters darted around the sector, deploying holographic decoys and triggering false alarms. Xylar scouts were drawn away, chasing shadows, unaware that the real human threat had already infiltrated their central command. Captain Lyra's team approached Xylar Prime, dodging orbital defenses and slipping through blind spots in the energy shields. Every maneuver tested their skills to the limit. A single miscalculation could alert the Xylar and doom the mission. But humans thrived under pressure. Lyra's crew moved like a single mind, anticipating problems before they arose. "Almost there," Lyra whispered. "Hold steady. Timing is everything." They entered the atmosphere at precise angles, using stealth fields to blend with clouds and atmospheric disturbances. Sensors flickered as they bypassed anti-air defenses, and for the first time, the Xylar High Command began to notice anomalies in their system. On the surface, engineers deployed micro-drones to disable communications and energy nodes. Explosives were placed strategically, designed not to destroy the planet but to cripple command capabilities. Every action was deliberate, precise, and humane, human ingenuity at its finest. Meanwhile, the human fleet in orbit executed simultaneous strikes. Attack teams targeted supply depots, fighter bays, and satellite arrays. The Xylar forces scrambled, trying to respond to multiple crises at once. Their rigid command structure could not adapt to the unpredictable human strategies. Inside the command hub, alarms blared. The High Commander barked orders, but his officers were overwhelmed. Human tactics were everywhere, every angle, every system, every weak point exploited with precision. Panic rippled through the Xylar ranks for the first time in generations. Captain Lyra's team reached the core of the command hub. Using a combination of hacking, physical manipulation, and clever distractions, they gained access to the central control systems. Within minutes, critical communications were disrupted, shielding was partially lowered, and supply lines were cut. Xylar forces were isolated, confused, and vulnerable. Lyra sent a message back to Admiral Kyle. "Command compromised. Systems offline. Prepare for final coordination." Kyle smiled grimly. "Understood. Begin Phase 2. Human fleet surged forward, exploiting the chaos. Freighters carrying improvised armor and weapons moved to strategic positions, supporting strike teams and blocking Xylar reinforcements. Fighters weaved through debris fields, launching precise attacks that disabled engines, weapons, and shields. The humans had turned unpredictability into a weapon, striking simultaneously from multiple angles. Back in the command hub, Lyra and her team faced the final challenge, the central control console, heavily protected by both technology and alien guards. Using quick thinking, Lyra devised a diversion. Micro-drones created a false energy surge in one sector, while the team moved unseen to the console. In moments, they gained control over critical systems, sending the Xylar fleet into disarray. The High Commander roared in frustration. "Impossible. How can humans operate with such speed, precision, and coordination? They are not like us. They cannot be anticipated." Kale's voice echoed across the comms, calm and steady. "Humans are unpredictable, adaptive, and courageous. We do not fight like machines. We fight with minds and hearts. That is our greatest weapon." With the hub compromised, humans sent automated commands to neutralize key installations. Alien fleets were rerouted, trapped in ambushes, and cut off from supplies. Xylar morale plummeted as the realization set in. Their central command was not invincible. Humans had struck at the heart of the enemy and survived. Even as chaos reigned, the strike team moved swiftly to escape. Using the meteor storm as cover once again, they slipped past pursuing forces and rejoined the orbiting fleet. The operation had been a success beyond expectations. Xylar Prime was damaged, command systems disrupted, and human forces had shown the galaxy a new truth. Humans do not follow patterns, they create them. Admiral Kale addressed the fleet, pride evident in his voice. "Today we did more than fight. We showed the Xylar that humans cannot be predicted or controlled. Every victory, every clever maneuver is a reminder that we are not just another species. We are humans and we fight differently. Across the Orion sector, news of the operation spread. Colonies celebrated not just survival, but ingenuity and courage. Engineers, pilots, medics, and strategists all had contributed to a turning point in the war. Human spirit, teamwork, and creativity had achieved what no one thought possible. Even the Xylar forces, despite their shock and anger, began to recognize a hard truth. Humans were not an enemy to underestimate. They could adapt, improvise, and strike with precision. The aliens had assumed weakness where none existed, patterns where none could be found, and rigidity where humans thrived in flexibility. Kale stood once more on the bridge of Resolute, gazing at the stars. "This is only the beginning," he said quietly. "We have struck the heart of the Xylar, but they will not stop. We must be ready, clever, and fearless. Humans fight differently, and the galaxy will know it." Captain Lyra, standing nearby, smiled. "We've done something remarkable, Admiral. Not just for the fleet, but for humanity itself. We've shown that courage, intelligence, and teamwork can overcome even the most fearsome enemy." Kale nodded. "Exactly. And we will continue to fight that way. Every battle, every encounter, every challenge will prove the same truth. Humans are not just survivors. They are innovators, strategists, and warriors unlike any other." As the fleet moved to regroup and repair, the human forces understood a simple yet profound truth. Victory is not always about numbers or technology. It is about the mind, the heart, and the willingness to adapt. And in that, humans had no equal. The Orion sector had been transformed. Humans had gone from defenders to bold aggressors, striking at the core of an enemy that had underestimated them for centuries. The Xylar would recover, regroup, and attempt to strike again. But they would never forget the day humans showed them that courage and ingenuity could change the course of a war. And somewhere in the stars, the message that had begun this campaign echoed once more. "You chose war. Watch us teach you how it's done." Humans had delivered a powerful lesson, and the galaxy was taking notice. The Xylar Collective had begun to recover from the shocking human strikes at Orion's Teeth and GalacticPrime. Yet even as they repaired their systems and reorganized their fleets, the specter of human ingenuity loomed over them. Across the galaxy, stories of human bravery, cleverness, and daring tactics spread like wildfire. The aliens were learning, slowly but painfully, that humans were not to be underestimated. Admiral Kale stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching holographic projections of the Xylar flagship, a massive warship called the Eternal Dominion. It was heavily armed, shielded, and considered invincible. This vessel was the heart of the Xylar war effort, and Kale knew that striking it directly could change the course of the entire conflict. "Admiral," Lieutenant Vero said, "their defenses are stronger than anything we've faced before. A direct attack could be suicidal." Kyle's eyes were calm, but a fierce determination burned behind them. "Then we won't attack directly. Humans never do. We fight smart, not predictable. We hit where they least expect it, and we use every advantage we have." Plans were drawn, analyzed, and revised repeatedly. Human engineers and tacticians developed stealth drones, guided missiles, and decoy holograms. Freighters were equipped with experimental shields, allowing them to act as moving cover for attack ships. Pilots trained in extreme maneuvers, preparing for a battle that would push them beyond anything they had experienced. Meanwhile, Captain Lyra led a specialized strike team, tasked with infiltrating the Eternal Dominion and crippling its internal systems. Her ship, the Valiant, slipped through asteroid fields and debris clouds, avoiding detection by the Xylar fleet. Every member of her crew understood the risks, but fear was replaced by purpose. They were humans, and humans fight in ways the enemy cannot predict. As the fleet approached the Xylar flagship, Admiral Kale coordinated the battle from orbit. Human forces would attack from multiple angles simultaneously. Some would engage the enemy fleet, drawing attention and fire. Others would launch stealth drones to sabotage shield generators. And Lyra's team would infiltrate the flagship itself, targeting its command systems. The battle began with a storm of fire. Human frigates darted through enemy lines, launching plasma torpedoes while evading heavy beams. Decoy holograms projected false fleets, confusing Xylar sensors and causing them to misfire. Freighters carrying improvised shields moved like giant moving walls, absorbing the brunt of enemy fire while fighters struck from angles the Xylar never anticipated. The Eternal Dominion fired relentlessly, its weapons slicing through space with precision, yet the human fleet remained elusive. Pilots twisted, turned, and dodged, using ingenuity and teamwork to survive the hail of energy blasts. Kale's strategy was working. The Xylar were frustrated, disoriented, and unable to predict human movements. "Target their shield generators," Kale ordered. "Use the drones. Strike simultaneously on all sides." Tiny stealth drones, no larger than a shuttle, slipped through shield gaps and attacked critical points. Explosions erupted inside the massive warship, knocking out power to sections of its shields. Human fighters exploited the openings, launching targeted attacks at the weakened areas. The Eternal Dominion shuddered under the assault, and even the Xylar crews began to feel doubt. Inside the flagship, Captain Lyra's team executed their infiltration. Using stealth fields and clever hacking tools, they bypassed security systems, avoided patrols, and reached the central command deck. It was a tense journey. A single misstep could trigger alarms and doom the mission. But humans thrived under pressure. Every obstacle was met with creativity, every challenge with determination. Lyra reached the main control console, her fingers flying over the alien interface. Microdrones scanned the system, identifying critical nodes and vulnerabilities. With precise strikes, the team disabled communications, power distribution, and weapon targeting systems. The Eternal Dominion was crippled from within, even as human forces continued their assault outside. On the bridge of the Resolute, Kyle monitored every development. "They didn't think we could do this," he said. "They thought we would be predictable. But humans fight differently. Every move we make is a surprise." The Xylar High Commander watched helplessly as the flagship trembled under the combined assault. Panic spread among the alien officers. Their once perfect strategies were unraveling. Every human tactic, every clever maneuver was exposing weaknesses they had never anticipated. Captain Lyra transmitted a single message to the Xylar fleet. "Humans never give up. We fight smart. We fight together. Watch and learn." Back in space, the human fleet intensified their attack. Freighters carrying heavy shields moved ahead, creating cover for smaller attack craft. Fighters executed coordinated maneuvers, striking from angles that the Xylar could not defend. Mines hidden in debris fields detonated with perfect timing, further weakening the enemy. Every human move was calculated yet flexible, unlike the rigid tactics of their adversaries. The Eternal Dominion's weapons faltered as critical systems failed. Its shields flickered, then collapsed entirely in key sectors. Human fighters swarmed the exposed areas, targeting engines, weapons, and command nodes. Even the most experienced Xylar crews could not keep up with the relentless, intelligent assault. Amid the chaos, Lyra and her team secured control over the command deck. They sent automated shutdown commands to key systems and ensured that alien reinforcements were delayed or rerouted. Within moments, the flagship's internal defenses were neutralized. The humans had turned the most formidable warship in the Xylar fleet into a vulnerable target. Admiral Kale watched the battlefield with quiet pride. "Today," he said, "we are not just fighting. We are proving who humans are. We fight with mind and heart. We adapt, we survive, and we triumph. That is what it means to be human." Even as the flagship systems failed, the Xylar continued to resist. But their efforts were futile. Human ingenuity, courage, and teamwork had achieved what brute force alone could not. The Eternal Dominion was crippled, its crew demoralized, and its fleet in retreat. Captain Lyra's voice came over the comms, calm and victorious. "Admiral, the flagship is under our control. All critical systems are neutralized. The Xylar fleet is in disarray." Kyle allowed himself a small smile. "Excellent work, Lyra. This is more than a victory. This is a statement. Humans fight differently, and no force in the galaxy will ever forget it." As the battle ended, human ships moved to secure the sector. Engineers repaired damaged vessels, medics treated the wounded, and strategists prepared for the next stage of the war. The Orion sector was scarred, but the humans had shown that determination, intelligence, and courage could overcome even the most powerful enemy. Across the galaxy, news of the battle spread. Colonies celebrated not just survival, but triumph through ingenuity and teamwork. Stories of daring maneuvers, clever tactics, and unyielding courage inspired humans everywhere. Even the Xylar, though defeated in this battle, began to realize the truth. Humans are not predictable, and they cannot be controlled. Kale addressed his fleet one final time before moving to regroup and repair. "Remember this victory," he said. It is proof that humans fight with a combination of mind, heart, and skill. The Xylar thought they were invincible. They were wrong. We are humans and we fight differently. That is our strength. That is our legacy. Captain Lyra, standing beside Kale, smiled at the stars. We've done more than win a battle, Admiral. We've shown the galaxy what humans are capable of. Courage, intelligence, and teamwork can overcome even the greatest threat. Kale nodded. Exactly. And this is only the beginning. There will be more battles, more challenges, more threats. But one thing is certain. Humans never give up and we never fight like anyone else. The galaxy will remember this day, and the Xylar will never underestimate us again. The human fleet moved forward, engines blazing, leaving a trail of hope and determination across the Orion sector. They had struck a decisive blow, but the war was far from over. Yet humanity had proven something essential. Their courage, ingenuity, and spirit could challenge even the mightiest enemy. And somewhere in the stars, the message echoed again. Clear and defiant. You chose war. Watch us teach you how it's done. Humanity had struck back with full force, demonstrating not just strength, but intelligence, adaptability, and unshakable courage. The Xylar would recover, but they would never forget the day humans taught them a lesson they would carry forever. The Orion sector was quiet for the first time in weeks, but it was a quiet that carried the weight of a hard-fought war. Human fleets had inflicted unprecedented damage on the Xylar Collective. Supply lines were broken, key command hubs destroyed, and the flagship Eternal Dominion lay crippled under human control. Yet Admiral Kale knew the conflict was not over. The Xylar would attempt to recover, to retaliate, and to test humanity once more. Kale stood on the bridge of the Resolute, looking at the holographic map of the sector. Red dots marked the remaining Xylar positions. Blue dots represented human fleets, now stronger, reorganized, and filled with renewed confidence. The battle had taught humans many lessons: how to adapt, how to exploit enemy weaknesses, and how to fight as one united force. But the most important lesson was clear. Humanity's strength was in its spirit. Admiral, Lieutenant Vero reported, we've intercepted messages from the Xylar High Command. They are requesting a ceasefire and offering to negotiate. Kyle's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. They've learned the hard way that humans do not submit easily. They've seen what we're capable of and now they want terms. Prepare a channel. I want to speak to them directly. Meanwhile, across the fleet, Captain Lyra and her strike team worked to secure control over the Eternal Dominion. Engineers carefully stabilized the crippled ship, ensuring that it could be used as a deterrent in the negotiations. Even in victory, humans remained cautious, aware that overconfidence could be dangerous. Lyra looked at her crew and said, we've shown them our strength, but now we must ensure they understand our resolve. Humans don't fight only to win battles, we fight to defend, to survive, and to inspire respect. Kyle's voice rang across the communications channel, steady and firm. This is Admiral Kale of the United Earth Defense Fleet. You have seen the cost of underestimating humanity. You have chosen to challenge a species that fights with courage, ingenuity, and unity. We are willing to negotiate terms, but understand this. Humans will never bow, never surrender, and never be predictable. We are a species that adapts, survives, and prevails. The Xylar High Commander's response was cautious, tinged with surprise and respect. We underestimated you, humans. Your tactics, your creativity, your bravery. It is unlike anything we have encountered. We seek terms for now to prevent further losses. But know this, your species is formidable. Kale allowed a small smile. That is the lesson we hoped you would learn. Humans are not merely warriors. We are thinkers, innovators, and unyielding defenders. Let this be the beginning of understanding between our species. Let this ceasefire mark a new chapter, one where the cost of aggression against humanity is clear. As negotiations proceeded, humans did not relax their vigilance. Fleet formations remained tight, defensive systems were reinforced, and every crew member knew that vigilance was part of survival. Yet there was also celebration. Colonies, stations, and fleet crews rejoiced in their achievements. They had faced a technologically superior enemy and emerged victorious through courage, strategy, and unity. Captain Lyra reflected on the journey from the first skirmish to the fall of the Eternal Dominion. We have proven that humanity's greatest weapon is not a cannon or a shield or a fleet, she said to her team. It is our ability to think, to adapt, and to act together. We have turned impossible odds into opportunities, and that is the power of being human. Elsewhere, human engineers worked tirelessly to repair damaged ships and restore colonies. Scientists studied captured Xylar technology, not only to improve human defenses but to learn from the ingenuity of their enemy. Every human contribution mattered, reinforcing the truth that humanity thrived as a united force. Kale walked the corridors of the Resolute, speaking with crews and officers. He encouraged young pilots, congratulated engineers, and reminded medics of the value of their work. Every role matters, he said. Humans fight with mind, heart, and unity. This is why we prevail. Remember it, cherish it, and carry it forward. We are humans, and this is what makes us powerful. In the wider galaxy, news of the human victories reached distant systems. Other civilizations who had observed humanity quietly for centuries began to take notice. Humans were no longer seen as a minor species confined to a single sector. They were a force to be respected. Stories of courage, ingenuity, and unyielding spirit spread, inspiring not only humans but other worlds as well. Even the Xylar, once arrogant and unyielding, had been forced to recognize humanity's unique qualities. They realized that fighting humans was not like fighting any other species. Patterns, calculations, and brute force alone were insufficient against beings who thought, adapted, and acted with heart. The lesson was clear. Humanity was a species that would never be dominated or predicted. As the ceasefire was formalized, Kale addressed his fleet one last time. Today, humans have not just defended our space. We have proven the meaning of courage, ingenuity, and unity. Let this victory remind the galaxy. Humans fight differently, and we fight to protect what we value. Let it also remind the Xylar, and any who would challenge us, that humanity cannot be underestimated. Captain Lyra stood beside Kale, looking out at the stars. We've shown them the human spirit, she said, and we've learned more about ourselves in the process. Courage, cleverness, and teamwork. These are the qualities that define us. Kale nodded, his eyes scanning the stars. Exactly. Today the Orion sector is safe. But more importantly, humanity has established a legacy of strength, resilience, and intelligence. We have taught a lesson that the galaxy will not forget. Humans may be unpredictable, but they are unstoppable when united. As the fleets returned to their stations, humans celebrated, repaired, and prepared for the future. The scars of battle were visible, but they were also a testament to what had been achieved. Lives had been saved, territories defended, and the Xylar humbled. And through it all, humanity had relied on its greatest strengths: courage, ingenuity, and unity. Admiral Kale sent one final message to the Xylar High Command, a message that would echo throughout the galaxy. You chose war. Now you have seen how humans fight. Remember this lesson. Humanity does not yield. Humanity does not surrender. Humanity prevails. The Xylar listened, their officers silent. They understood the truth in Kale's words. Humans were not just fighters, they were strategists, innovators, and beings of remarkable courage. The lesson had been learned, and it would be remembered. Back on the colonies, humans rebuilt their stations and homes. Families reunited. Engineers perfected new systems, and fleet crews prepared for training and future missions. Every person, whether on a ship or in a city, knew that they had been part of something extraordinary. Humanity had faced an overwhelming threat and emerged not just victorious, but stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. Kale walked among the people, shaking hands, sharing words of encouragement, and reminding them of what they had accomplished. We are humans, he said, and today we have proven what that truly means. Courage, ingenuity, unity. These are the qualities that define us. We have taught a lesson to the galaxy, and more importantly, we have proven it to ourselves. Captain Lyra, observing the celebrations, smiled. The Xylar may recover, Admiral, she said, but they will never forget what humans are capable of. And neither will we, Kale nodded. Exactly. Let this be a turning point, not just in this war, but in how humans see themselves. We are capable of greatness, of courage, of intelligence that no enemy can predict. This is our strength. This is what makes us human. As the Orion sector settled into a cautious peace, humans continued to strengthen their fleets, improve technology, and prepare for the future. The war had taught them many lessons, but the most important was clear. Humans fight differently. They do not follow rigid patterns. They do not rely on force alone. They use ingenuity, courage, and unity to overcome the impossible. And across the stars, the echo of Kale's words resonated. You chose war. Watch us teach you how it's done. Humanity had proven itself not only capable of defending its space, but of inspiring the galaxy. They had faced a powerful, advanced enemy and emerged victorious, not through sheer might alone, but through the qualities that made them truly remarkable: heart, mind, and unbreakable spirit. The Xylar would rebuild, and challenges would come again, but humanity had established a legacy that would endure. Wherever humans went, wherever threats arose, they would face them with courage, intelligence, and unity. And the galaxy would know forever that humans fight differently, and that they fight to win. The Orion sector had witnessed a transformation. Humanity had shown the universe that it was not merely a species of survival, but a species of ingenuity, courage, and indomitable spirit. And as the stars stretched endlessly above, humans looked to the future with determination, knowing that whatever challenges awaited, they would meet them as they always had, together, clever, and unyielding. The war had taught a lasting truth. Humans are not just survivors, they are innovators, warriors and guardians of their destiny, and no force in the galaxy, no matter how powerful, could ever forget that fact.